We're live. Hey guys, welcome back to OWR episode 3. We've got some good stuff happening this week. It's Christmas week, and so it's a great week anyway. And hopefully everybody out there's healthy and able to enjoy the break. We're trying to keep track of silly season, watching some documentaries. I know Kyle's kind of found his way to a Cena doc. I watched Fernando. I started watching it, which is pretty cool. It follows through 2019. I had no idea that dude has won Le Mans twice, at least twice, if not more.
That's why
2 times in a row.
That's why he's trying for Indy so hard. He wants to get be the second guy to get the Triple Crown.
I know, it's awesome. It's awesome. But yeah, no, for today we had a few topics kind of touch on we think are timely. We'll just kind of kick off with Kyle. What do you think about our man Connor Daly getting his ride filled for his season fill?
Well, as you know, that Connor Daly is by far my favorite driver. He's actually what got me into IndyCar.
He's my favorite driver.
Is he good? I'm glad he's got many fans. But anyways, the big news this week is Connor signed back with Ed Carpenter Racing to do the street and road courses with the Air Force car. Unfortunately, we were hoping it was a full-time ride, but it's not going to be a full-time ride with Ed Carpenter. He's just doing street and road courses. So now we're patiently waiting, hoping that he gets the same deal he got last year so he can do all the ovals with Carlin, which is only 3 ovals, but hopefully he gets a full-time ride.
So with that Carlin ride, he got P1 in qualifying at one of the races last year, so that he performed well for Carlin last year. Do they have a seat available? Do they have a car kind of waiting to fill, or would it be one of those things they would figure out for him?
No, so Max Chilton does the road, and Max Chilton could have a full-time ride with Carlin, but he doesn't like doing the ovals. He's a former Formula One driver from Europe.
Yeah, I remember that.
He still does Indy 500 just because sponsors he has to pretty much. But
yeah.
No, what was it? 2 years ago, Max said he's not comfortable doing the ovals. He's not going to do them. So then Trevor Carlin, the owner, has been scrambling to do the ovals, get a driver to do the ovals also. So
they don't do the ovals because they just think it's too dangerous, or because they go too fast. What's the reasoning?
That and lack of experience. Formula One over in Europe, it's all about road courses. They just literally have zero experience at ovals. And
we're over here. These guys grew up on dirt or local tracks, and they're all oval. So yeah, it's just turning left is nature, I guess.
Yeah. And I mean, Indy 500, you're hitting speeds of 230, going full out the entire track. And obviously Europe, it's road courses. You're hitting your brakes. You're still going fast, but nothing like the speeds of IndyCar. So,
but you would think ovals would be easier to drive.
More dangerous. I mean, I can't speak at all about easiest.
Well, I don't know. How many laps you do at Kentucky Speedway? You're like a pro. You're the pro of the group here.
About five laps in a Indy type car, and I consider myself a pro, but nobody else does.
Was it one of the ones that had 2 seats in it?
No, one seat. It was crazy. It's the Mario Andretti experience. You watch like a 20-minute video, and then they throw you in a 1-seater with a helmet talking to a guy telling you to make sure you stay on your line, and you're going hit speeds about 140. So even while I was doing it, I was like, I cannot believe legally they're allowed to do this. It was awesome. But yeah, I don't know. I can't speak of what's easiest, but it's by far more dangerous. And like I said, these European guys come over here, zero experience on the ovals, and then they're racing 32 other people at IMS. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, like,
So does Ed Carpenter not do road courses?
No, he just does the ovals.
So who drives for him in the same kind of mix that Connor does?
Connor, what do you mean?
I was thinking
number 20,
I got
number 20 car is Connor for street and road, and ovals. It's Ed driving it.
That makes sense. So in theory, if the owner wasn't a competent oval driver, which he is, he Connor could get a full ride there potentially.
Potentially, yeah, it depends on money and all that. But I mean, no, Ed's from Indiana. It's his dream to win the Indy 500. And he came so close so many times.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's the owner, so he can do what he wants, I guess.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun rooting for an Indiana guy. You know.
Well, the number 20 card's Team Indiana because Connor's from Indiana too. But one thing I found interesting, one article said that the Air Force is only sponsoring 10 races this year, so I don't know if they kind of drew back on some money they're giving Connor in the racing program, or if they're just giving more money for those 10 races. But yeah, they covered more races last year, so I don't know if he didn't get as much money as they expected him to.
Yeah. Well, you know, I know we both like watching him and rooting for him. He's fun. Personality-wise, he's a fun guy. He seems like somebody you go hang out at the bar with and have a beer. And so that's always fun to have guys like that you can root for. It's cool that he's got a ride. I hope he can perform, you know, in a way that at some point earns him, you know, more looks, more, you know, full-time ride.
Well, yeah. You know, Ed Carpenter Racing, they were down all year last year. They were one of the worst teams, which usually they're not like that. So hopefully they get back to the front of the pack. But Connor really proved himself in the Carlin car. He did really well in Carlin. So I'm really hoping he gets the ovals with Carlin. But it's a money thing. So who knows?
Yeah. So with the other thing we were, you know, that was going on this week was some Penske rumors about potentially adding a fifth car.
That's, which is crazy. I don't know if he's ever had 5 cars in Indy 500, but no, Kevin Lee, which, you know, he's a pit side reporter, he was talking about a rumor around Indy is that Penske's open to fielding a 5th car for the Indy 500 just to try to bring a big name in, because, you know, obviously Toby, as you know, Penske bought IMS and all of IndyCar, so it's about winning the 500 like always with Penske, but he's also trying to bring more eyes to the TV screen. So names that were kind of brought up was maybe like a Kyle Busch. That's their podcast was trying to think of like different big names that would be open to driving the Indy 500. They didn't really come up with too many names, but like I said, everybody knows Kyle Busch wants to do the 500. But you know, I think it's a stretch to bring like a Tony Stewart in. I don't even
ever try to bring back like Danica Patrick or anybody like that.
They brought her up too, but they said that she's so happy doing what she's doing now. You know, she's kind of
making wine,
and she's commentated the last 2 Indy 500s, and she seems real content there. So
maybe they can get Jeff Gordon in there.
Hey, I don't know if his buddy Jimmy Johnson won't do the 500. I don't know if Jeff will.
What do you think about a potential like F1 crossover? I know they probably couldn't do it mid-season if they're racing on a contract, but you know, there's still some really quality drivers that are out of a ride for next year that might be. You think any chatter about any of those guys being able to? I mean, because you pull in some European support, I mean, you could potentially really help viewership if that was one of the goals.
Sure, and that's what they said. You know, maybe Alonso can do it, which he says he can't buy his contract because I think Monaco is a week before or after. I mean, it's a week before, so they would have missed. You know, an active F1 driver would miss qualifying for the 500, but you know, a F1 driver doesn't have a seat. They haven't said anything about that.
Yeah.
You know, like Romain Grosjean, you know, he's open about being nervous about the ovals, and I haven't heard any other names open to do it.
That's crazy. That'd be crazy to have a team out there with 5 cars. I know it helps your.
Another Andretti out there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I know. In NASCAR, they actually limit how many cars you can have. Because there was some teams with 5 and 6 cars, and they started limiting how many teams you could actually have, because they had too much information and it was kind of swaying the balance of competitiveness. Yeah, well,
Andretti's been driving 5 cars for a while, and you know, Andretti didn't do good last year, and it said because you know the race weekend was so compact, they didn't have time to look at all the data of those 5 cars. So actually, kind of last year, it kind of hurt the team that they had so many cars because they didn't have time to look at the data. But I can totally get that. But Andretti's been doing 5 for years. Penske and Chip have 4 cars this year, so I think if IndyCar gets real healthy and, a lot of interest, they might start doing that. But unfortunately, IndyCar is not in the spot that NASCAR is in right now. So if they can bring a big name in, I think everybody would be open to it.
Yeah. It sounds like the Ferrari rumors are kind of dead for now.
I don't know. Ferrari posted on Twitter last week that they paraphrasing here, but they said, out of all our big wins, the only thing missing is the Indy 500.
Huh.
They got the rumor mill started again.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, and people they're just starting to think that Ferrari's just teasing IndyCar. They've done it before, up to the point where they made a whole chassis for them. I want to say in the 80s maybe, and then pulled out last second. So I mean, Ferrari. I mean, look at them in F1. They're always threatening to leave F1 if they don't get their way.
True.
They think Ferrari's just kind of messing with the IndyCar guys, but Roger Penske said that he's still talking to Ferrari and 2 other manufacturers. So who knows?
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'd love to see something new come in though, just shake it up a bit.
Yeah, they've been saying for years they want to get a third OEM in there. Honda and Chevy say they're pretty much maxed out with providing so many engines, and Honda even said that they'll assist whatever manufacturer comes in just to help them out with the workload. So,
is there any rumors other than Ferrari?
Not really. People always talk about I heard a Hyundai, maybe they were talking Hyundai, but obviously you want Ford, Ferrari's a big name, obviously, but no, nothing substantial. But
I figured Toyota would potentially want to do that since they made the jump.
Yeah, it would be nice. Like I said, it'd be nice for any third engine manufacturer to come in there, but nothing yet, just rumors. And like I said, Ferrari kind of toying with us. That's all they do. Yeah.
I think we'll shift gears a bit here. Like that fun. So what's up with our boy Hinch?
I don't know. He's gone.
I got my Genesis Hinch gear over here, the signed car and helmet, and I can't wait to root for the guy. And I just thought this was like a last year with Genesis stepping in a big way, and Hinch kind of everything I heard was a great relationship. I just thought that was going to be a lock, and we just heard nothing. I think you were even saying he's kind of not been present on the podcast. He's just kind of been MIA from social media. It's like a little bit worrisome what's going on.
Yeah, well, he's always on social media, interacting with people, making jokes with his buddies, other IndyCar drivers, and I haven't seen any of that the last couple of weeks. Have you?
Mm-mm.
And then their podcast, Off Track with Hinch and Rossi, I like it just because Hinch and Rossi, they're buddies, and they just pretty much go back and forth with each other, just joking with each other. But last two weeks, Hinch hasn't been on it at all. It's just been Rossi and the producer.
But they haven't said, and I haven't listened to that podcast, but they haven't said why or where he's at or what's up.
About a month ago, they were talking about Christmas plans, and Hinch was going to go up to Canada with his wife and family, but he's done the podcast up in Canada before. So
hopefully there's nothing more serious going on.
Yeah, that more importantly than anything, but. Like you said, everybody thought, Genesis came in last year all excited. They sponsored, I think Texas. They sponsored a race, sponsored his car as much as they could. So it was kind of like a foregone conclusion. They were going to be sponsoring him for a full-time ride at Andretti this year. But, I haven't heard they're not. Rumor still is they're just waiting for the announcement. But I'm starting to get a little worried.
I know, yeah, me too. Fingers crossed that, one, he's all right. He got nothing bad going on, and two, if something lands, because he's fun to watch. Although he does a damn good job on the mic. He's a great commentator as well. And so I'd rather see him with the helmet on, but as long as he's in the sport and engaged, at least get some exposure.
It probably has something to do with a woman.
He's been married for about a year to an actress, and
maybe they're shooting a movie.
I told you.
I don't know. But yeah, Toby, you might be right. Who knows? Toby's rocking the orange Genesis color there, though. Yeah, he is. He was ready for an announcement today.
I don't know. He was
And that's one thing they said during the week of Christmas. Do not expect any announcements or any major news just because it's a week of Christmas. So
yeah, true. Well, let's maybe wrap up the IndyCar talk for the week with a couple known changes and how COVID might be playing some games with us on this. And we dealt with a bunch of schedule changes, and we're lucky enough to even have a season this year, really, to root for and to watch. But Long Beach is the first piece of the schedule to move. I think they moved to the last race of the season.
Yeah, their season finale now, but they had to cancel last year or 2020 season because of COVID, and they're simply just saying these races they cannot race without fans. The races that had races without fans last year, they lost a lot of money. It's just not an option this next season to race without any fans. So Long Beach, being out in California, they have pretty strict COVID rules. Went ahead and moved it to the season finale, which we just really won a Long Beach race because that's Rossi's race. That's his race to win every year.
Well, and with us, one of my top goals, I think I even saw you post on Twitter, one of your top, I shouldn't say goals because it's not our goal, but one of our things we hope that most happens this season is for Rossi to get a championship. And that race is kind of critical to him given his success and how well he knows it. So hopefully it happens. It'd be sweet to see him bring home a championship and a win at his home course. So that'd be kind of a cool way to end the season anyway. So
Toby, did I send you that article of I think it's been 2 years now, but Rossi in a simulator did Long Beach. He raced Long Beach completely blindfolded.
No.
Yeah.
And his time was only slightly slower than his real race time.
Yeah. His time blindfolded was 0.2 slower.
He should do it for real then.
Well, that's one way to do it, I guess.
No, we should leave the live action, closing your eyes stuff to Michael Jordan in the free throw. No one else needs to be doing that shit.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm assuming what you're talking about with the fans, that they don't have the TV contracts that the football or basketball and stuff does, where they can actually have those games without fans and still be probably as profitable as they were before.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, but think about how many tickets they sell. I mean, how many? 300,000 plus at Indy?
Well, Indy, yeah.
But I mean, just think about that race by itself. I mean, 300,000 plus, and you're paying. I mean, we pay over $100 for our tickets. I know that a lot of that's infield. It's not quite as expensive, but still, I mean, that's a chunk of change.
Oh yeah, they say that pays for most of the IndyCar season.
Yeah, but so you lose.
Go ahead.
And I was going to say you lose that, and then plus however many thousand fans you get at some of these other races. I mean, that's got to be impactful.
Yeah, Indy 500's pretty much the only big TV deal they have. But IndyCar doesn't have, NASCAR ran all those races last year because of their big TV deal. IndyCar doesn't have that big TV deal. So it wasn't profitable running the races unless you have fans.
Plus, it just doesn't seem like the same without the fans, even though with auto racing, it's not as big a deal as you don't hear the fans as much as you do with football or basketball or anything. It still gives you a different environment feel when you don't see the fans in the stands.
Yeah, all the drivers talked about, IMS with 300,000 fans, just how amazing it is. That's what makes the Indy 500 the Indy 500. And even that podcast, Hinch and Rossi, before the Indy 500, they said, I hope whoever wins is not a first-time winner because they would be cheated and experienced. And well, that didn't happen. Sato won, so he's the same two-time winner. But and something else like Long Beach, it's a street course. It's not a permanent course, so they shut down the roads. They build up, with all the barriers and the bleachers and all that. So to shut down those streets for 2 weeks, it has to be profitable.
Yeah. Speaking of COVID impacts, the schedules, et cetera, it sounds like maybe some sponsorship nervousness. I can't imagine writing a check to support a team and then races be limited or not happen. So, I know we're hearing about COVID clauses and things being written in, and one of the ones potentially most impacted that we're hearing rumors about is RHR What are you hearing there?
Also, Rossi was talking about how one of his close buddies, and he even says not Hinch or Connor, their sponsorship, them announcing him racing next year is being threatened because of COVID. They're trying to get a COVID clause to, and I don't blame the sponsors. If they don't race certain races, they want their money back because they're paying them for those races. Mm. So a lot of people are predicting, he was talking about Ryan Hunter-Reay with DHL, which their contract was up after this season. So they're renewing a new contract for the DHL and RHR. But they're messing with this COVID clause, and that's why they haven't announced Hunter-Reay yet. So just, new things with this COVID that might affect the race season.
It's I know you went to Hunter-Reay, and I may have missed something this week, but as far as I know, Marco hadn't been announced yet either. And I know Connor's been spending quite a bit of time with Marco. I see they do some fun outdoor activities at I don't know where they're at, but they had a bunch of snowmobiles the other day. They got their off-road vehicles. And
I think that was up in Nazareth, Pennsylvania. Marco, the Andretti's compound.
Yeah.
Mario and Marco and all them live. But
that looks like fun for one. Connor's jokes about being the fifth wheel always make me laugh, but it makes you wonder if maybe it's about Marco sponsors simply. Yeah.
They said the U.S. Concrete sponsor is solid behind. Concrete is solid behind Marco, and that's probably the most healthy sponsorship they have. And Marco, the owner of his own car.
Yeah, I've not done research on U.S. Concrete and what all they do, but everything you hear about the economy right now, one of the places that's continuing to do well is home and construction. But I assume an organization that big is probably doing a lot of commercial work and bigger buildings, and they might actually not be doing as well, given
or something. Yes, all these rumors with the COVID, postponing announcements and all that. We know we're not getting any this week because of Christmas, but hopefully next week. But they're predicting we won't have another announcement till the first of the year.
Yeah. Cool. Well, let's maybe pivot over to talk about Formula One a little bit.
That's your specialty.
Not a ton going on there, but Red Bull making a call here last weekend and getting Perez in a car after basically losing his ride from Racing Point is pretty exciting.
That's a big announcement.
Yeah, Red Bull is one of those just brands in general that whether it be autocross or whether it be the different types of racing that they sponsor, but also just all the fun, crazy outdoor crap that they share on media. So I've always enjoyed Red Bull content, and so I kind of naturally drawn to that team a bit. Max, for some reason, just doesn't click with me. Not that I dislike him, but I just have a hard time rooting for him. So them adding Perez to the mix, that really helps bring me in. I'm kind of looking forward to what they can do next year.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm the opposite. I love Max Verstappen, like you, Toby. I know you're a big fan of him.
I'm a bigger fan.
Yeah, you're an even bigger fan of him. I like Max.
You're a bigger fan, but are you like a?
Where's he from, Toby?
Hey, all I care about is what he does on the track.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, anyways,
what's he do on the track, Toby?
Yeah.
He's a tire changer.
But I like Max because I find him almost refreshing because he says what's on his mind. So many of these athletes they say what they have to say. Interviews are boring. With Max, you don't know what's going to come out of his mouth, but he doesn't hold anything back. So I just find him refreshing. But
that's one of the things that some of the this year not so much because there wasn't as much competitiveness with that between the teams, but last year and even in some of the the Netflix series, they would follow him. And I remember a couple different times Christian Horner was telling Max what Mercedes was up to, and Max get mad. I don't care.
That's why I love him. And he had a quote about Perez because it's uncommon in my limited experience with F1 for a team to go out and get the best available driver. I can't remember a stat now, but it said Red Bull hasn't hired anybody outside their Red Bull program in 20 years or something crazy like that. So for Red Bull to go out and get the best driver, that's just, to me, shows that F1 may be exciting next year. But
to win their last race of the season makes you think that maybe they were starting to figure some stuff out.
Yep. And what's his name, Alex Albon? He seems like a cool guy, but I mean, he wasn't competitive with Max or the Mercedes last year. So to get one of the best drivers available, or the best driver available, shows that it might be pretty cool next year seeing them battle. And Max said, I mean, he said what he has to say. He says he's open to it. He wants a driver that keeps him on his toes. So, I mean, there's been some famous rivalries between teammates, but it'd be fun to see how this one unfolds in Red Bull next year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Well, I'm eager to see if it matters and if Mercedes just continues to dominate everybody's rear end and you're rooting for third place, basically.
Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen, but we can hope in the offseason for an exciting season next year.
Yeah. And then 2022 feels like forever from now, but new car, new budget restrictions makes you think that you might really get some shakeup.
Yeah,
2022.
Wide open.
Yeah. The other thing. Go ahead, Toby. Go ahead.
Do either one of you ever watch MotoGP?
Oh man, I love MotoGP, but I don't watch it as much as I'd like. I try to keep up a little bit. I see that KTM's been stepping up and kind of dominating a bit of late. But you all know I like motorcycles. I have an Indy and I enjoy riding. And I really like watching MotoGP, but I just haven't made it a priority to catch it or keep up with it. But.
Now, you talk about exciting. Even if it's not all that competitive, it's still exciting. Those are the type of races Kyle, I think you'd actually really get into that if you ever watched it consistently.
Yeah, Dave and I have talked about it before. I've never watched a second of it, but I've never saw it on TV. Like if I ever saw it on TV, I wouldn't scroll past it. But it's just never been appointment TV for me. But I'm open to any racing. But I've never watched any of it.
Similar to Drive to Survive, they've got a couple different series on Netflix and Amazon Prime that focus on MotoGP and following a couple of the drivers. That's what kind of got me interested originally. Yeah. And like there's a driver there named Rossi.
Yeah.
The Wizard. And I think he's on the tail end of his career, but he's always a fun kind of dude to watch and get after. So it's funny because I probably started watching him more than before I really knew who Alexander Rossi was. So when I started hearing Alexander Rossi, I'm like, what's that all about? I thought they were related or something. Clearly they're not. But yeah, I guess, to wrap up the show for the day, kind of the last topic we were talking about was some other Formula One drama. We believe his name is pronounced Mazepin. But I don't know what he just said.
I'm ignoring him.
Anyway, it's a new rookie, right? New rookie at Haas.
Yep.
And like literally 2 weeks before the season started, he films himself in his car, kind of driving like a maniac, like an idiot, really, weaving in and out of traffic, and posts that stuff on social media. And here you're like, in theory, the top race series in the world from just a viewership perspective, and landing in a car, one of two guys in a team, and you're posting that stuff. Yeah. And then, there was, I guess, I don't know the facts. I don't want to talk about it, but he admitted or apologized for some sexual harassment type stuff, and then deleted the post.
He posted a video of him groping a female.
He posted it?
Yeah. And obviously there was blowback on that. And like so
dude.
Do what?
He sounds like a smart dude.
Oh, his I looked it up. His dad is worth like $7 billion. He's from Russia. But yeah, he posted that video, then he took it down and he apologized. And then a week later he deleted the tweet of him apologizing. So so a lot of people saying with Haas, it's obviously a struggling team, that they can't afford to cut him because they need his daddy's check. Because he's worth so much money. They predicted Haas may not even be able to survive if they cut him. But then I saw something today where the Haas executives, they're kind of questioning having him as a driver because of how it could affect their branding. So I pull for Haas in Formula One just because they're the only American company. Well, not anymore. American investors are buying up McLaren
and Williams.
Yeah, but technically, Haas is the only American company racing team, so that just kind of makes me pull for them. But I mean, if they're hiring this idiot, that's literally making these videos of him groping women, it's not good. But
not good.
But
dude shouldn't be in a car. He clearly can't keep his stuff together. I mean, that's bad. It's funny you mentioned I need to go learn more about the investment stuff because I've read a bit and I tried following down. Like one of the investors is just like a sports investment company. So they own a bunch of different sports teams and sports related things. And I was looking for ways like how can I want to participate even if it's a small amount. Like we live near Louisville, Kentucky for our fans out there. So I work with people that own like partial horses and big deal about getting a horse, at Churchill Downs and even if you're a 1,000th% owner, it's cool. It's part of it. I'm like, shit, if I could figure out a way to put a little cash in on a team, that'd be sweet to be a little fraction of a percentage owner in F1 team.
The number I saw was this American investing company. They spent $350 million to own 15% of McLaren.
You could do that, Dave.
That is crazy.
So, but I mean, they're trying to do this to compete with I would say the big three, but this last season they weren't the big three, but to compete with the Mercedes and the Red Bulls and Ferrari sometime.
But to have that, I mean, $350 million for a 15% stake. I mean, that's a extremely valuable organization. So it's
we missed big F1 news also this week of Toto Wolff re-signing with Mercedes.
That seems like a no-brainer. How are you going to fire the dude who keeps dominating rides?
Well, you see, so I read that his new contract, he owns 30% of Mercedes racing team.
I saw that he was an owner.
Yeah,
he's like the principal.
Yeah,
I mean he's a sports agent for for who knows how many drivers. I don't know. I mean I know George Russell, but I don't know any of the others. But that dude's got his hands in the cookie jar.
Yeah, he did. Well, I know. I mean Rossi, when Rossi texted him whenever Hamilton got COVID, Rossi said he's literally the most powerful man in motorsports. But when I saw that he signed and he used to. He owned a smaller stake of the racing team, and now he owns 30% of Mercedes racing team. That's incredibly a high amount of money.
Yeah.
But the rumors he was going to kind of take a step back from the racing team, stay kind of an executive, but not the team principal. But he's coming back, so Mercedes probably is going to stay on top of the totem pole of F1.
That's the crazy thing with the Ferrari stuff is like, I think you brought it up last week about how the team principal hadn't even been to the races.
Yeah, he missed the last 3 races.
But yet, this past week I saw a bunch of videos of him, with Leclerc and the new driver all like talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we kind of, this isn't really motorsport news, but we talked about how Ferrari CEO stepped down. And then the team principal wasn't showing up at the races, so we were wondering if they were, if Ferrari's having a big change, but who knows?
Yeah, not me. I don't know. I enjoy it though. It's fun. I look forward to next season.
Yeah, dude, I can't wait.
Yeah, IMSA is going to be fun this year too. I mean, Le Mans and the Daytona 24. I mean, there's a bunch of dudes that we like to root for from Indy and past races that are.
Chip Ganassi's getting back into IMSA, and he's going to bring Kevin Magnussen to America in IMSA. So there's, crossover in the F1 world and IndyCar when we're talking about IMSA. So
yeah, it's going to be cool. Yeah. I know they're changing the game also there in 2023, I think, with a new LMP car that's more of a hybrid, and I know Porsche and Audi are jumping back in, so that'll be interesting to see what that does to the series.
I think that I saw something. Daytona 24 practice starts in like a month.
Wow.
So be looking forward to that.
I wonder how like tickets to that work. Do people like go watch the start, like hang out to their tire, go back to the hotel, sleep, and come back like that? That's an interesting race to think about. 24 hours worth.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to, especially Daytona. I would like to see it, but yeah, I don't know how that works. I'm sure there's not many people staying all 24 hours.
That was one of the things in that Fernando documentary I'm watching during I think it was Daytona. I can't remember which, but it was a 24-hour race, and there's 3 drivers, and it was his time to sleep, so he went to sleep. And one of the guys came in like, "Hey, you're up." And so he gets ready. It looked like he might have showered off just to get himself woke up. And he goes out there, and like the guy running the show was like decided to have the other guy take another stint. And like, he was pissed because he could have got a couple hours more of sleep, And like one of the other drivers went up to that guy and he was like, You might know how to do the racing thing, but your driver mentality management sucks. Like, he was pissed at him.
Willie T. Ribs has some interesting stories about that situation where he was supposed to go sleeping, but he decided to do other things.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's another story. But yeah,
I like that. That's a good documentary too. We got to cover some of these.
Well, I figured, this off season, whenever we have no news whatsoever, like, next week, we probably won't get any news this week because of Christmas. We can talk. I've been going down to, how you say his name? Ayrton Senna, whatever, wormhole, trying to learn more about him. And it's been really fun, really interesting. He's a big character. But
so we're gonna basically start a book club here. It's gonna be documentary. And we're going to make Toby watch it. Yep. And so he actually comes back to the show with something to talk about.
Exactly. Yeah, that's one thing.
I know more about this stuff than both of you guys, so don't even go.
You're just going to correct us when we're wrong.
That's right.
But no, that's one thing I kind of wanted to do this off season, since, obviously there's no racing, is since I'm fairly new to the sport, is try to watch some things to learn the history of F1 and IndyCar. So that's going to be fun. And like I said, these weeks where we have no news, we can kind of talk about that.
Sounds good. Well, yeah, I think we'll wrap it for the week. And hope everybody out there has a great Christmas or holiday, whatever you celebrate, and that you get to spend a little time with loved ones, hopefully, with everything going on with COVID. But, we'll look forward to being back next week and maybe some news, maybe not. Maybe we'll just shoot the shit. You never know. But anyway, have some good time with it. Give us a like, reach out, send us some notes, send us some comments. Let us know what you'd like for us to talk about, what you liked, what you didn't like, especially if it's about Toby. And we look forward to hearing from you later, everybody.